So the Raiders will try to get their first win next Sunday. Top 5 college football teams in this week's AP Top 25 poll: Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, and Mississippi. USC is 11th. The Dodgers were pounded 10-4 by the Chicago Cubs. 5 Dodgers pitchers gave up a combined 16 hits. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tavis is under attack. I can't get his radio station on my transistor. I'm getting the Asian station that he's right around, but they're not letting KBLA 1580 come in. I'm not getting the black man. So let Tavis know he's under attack. Cyber attack, racist attack, fascist attack, but he's under attack. And they doing something to disrupt his radio station, so they won't get the truth out to us.
Hey, it's Tavis. We appreciate all that love, let me tell you, because we may very well be under attack on all sides. Just because you don't believe in conspiracy theories don't mean they ain't after you. But in reality, sometimes stuff happens with the signal from the studio to the tower, which sends our programming to your car, home, office, or your transistor radio. But when you download the KBLA 1580 app, the sound is clear as a bell all day, all night, anywhere in the world, from Los Angeles to Lagos. So we love all of our listeners, no matter how you hear us. But when you download the KBLA 1580 app and hear that richness, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. But don't take my word for it. Download the KBLA 1580 app right now. I'm Tavis Smiley, and I approve this message.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle, though, ambition, flow inside my DNA. I was born like this, it's born like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this, which yells you a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that put the kids to bed. This that I got realness. I just killed cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA.
I got reparations inside my DNA. What? Miles just reminded me that Kendrick Lamar had 2 #1 singles this year. Not 1, but 2. And I know that mural in Compton is probably already fixed because we don't play that. And guess who will be watching the Super Bowl halftime show this year?
Everybody.
Pretty much everybody. Yeah, pretty much everybody. Okay, so look, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Call me. Let's talk about it. I want to get your take on the debate, or whatever else you want to talk about. Look, we got plenty of time to talk about this debate. I think we can talk about it afterwards. We're going to be tapping in on that Wednesday morning. It is a Talking Point Tuesday. That's every Tuesday. I think there was a really interesting article in the New York Times. It was titled, I rewatched the Hillary Clinton Donald Trump debate, so you don't have to. Thank you, because I really don't want to. And she made some great points about how much craftier Donald Trump is than people give him credit for. He is a TV spokesperson. He is rude, boorish, not well read, has a very small vocabulary, but he's not stupid. He's actually pretty smart. And what she breaks down the ways in which he flipped Hillary Clinton. So, for me, demeanor, vibe, is that a thing in debates? It is for me. Vibe is going to be the most important. Yes, I agree with Dr. Abdullah. I want to hear policy, but to be honest, I'm a Californian, and I've been tracking Kamala Harris since she was a district attorney. I feel, we helped her get elected. as a attorney general, state attorney general, and a senator. So I feel like I have a pretty clear sense of where she stands on policy. I feel like the speech she made at the DNC made it clear for me that she will have a different policy on Palestine than Biden will. And I think her work on S-1083, which was the Senate companion to H.R. 40, is enough for me to understand that she knows, understands, and supports reparations. I don't expect her to campaign on either one of those things. But, we can track the kinds of programs that she has created and supported in the criminal justice space. We can track the kinds of things she supported as a senator. And then the economic policy that she's put forth, I think she's going to have to really hammer on that. Those bread and butter issues, as they call them. I don't know that going after Trump is helpful. It's not going to make the people in his base suddenly go, you know what? He is a liar. Like if they don't, obviously they don't care, right? And I don't know that making him look stupid or more boorish is going to help her. I think what's going to help her is presenting herself and letting people who claim they don't know her, even though she's the vice president, get to know her, right? That's what I think. Love to hear your thoughts. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. What does Trump have to do? Trump has to do what he always does, which is loom larger than life and convince people that he's that strong bully who will act on their behalf, who will bully the world, bully black people, bully women, bully the Constitution on their behalf. And even, some of my friends who are black men in the injustice impacted space who think that Trump is their ally, he has to convince them that he'll bully the criminal justice system on their behalf. And while he may do it for Kodak Black or even Lil Wayne, he ain't going to do it for the average person. At the same time, when he signed the First Step Act, which was developed under the Obama administration, which he grudgingly supported and then has taken credit for, which he deserves credit for. It's one of the few good things he did in his administration. While he was freeing those people that were freed under the First Step Act, he was killing others, 12 to be exact, on death row on the way out the door. He wanted to make sure he got some of these death row inmates off of death row by killing them. Didn't talk about that in the same way that he talked about the 3 strikes. Actually murdered 5 people, black people, 12 people total. 5 of them were black who were on death row. And yet for some reason my justice impacted friends don't seem to care about that. While he was going easy on Kim Kardashian's friend, he was making sure 5 brothers on the row met their demise. You don't care about that? Okay, well, I'm going to still tell you. It's in my DNA. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Meanwhile, the former president, over the weekend threatening to throw people in jail who he says are, quote, involved in unscrupulous behavior around voting in the 2024 election, preemptively threatening people to discourage them from voting and to, I think, try to intimidate election officials. This is, him posting Saturday night on social media and making it clear that he is going to use the same playbook when it comes to this election, which is voter suppression, trying to get people kicked off the voter rolls, which they're doing even more than they did in 2020 and 2016, and trying to intimidate election officials, poll workers, and regular voters. It is true that hardly anyone tries to actually vote when they're not eligible. It's just not that sexy of a thing. People would rather rob a store, lie on a loan application, steal a thing. Voting is not something most people are not even willing to do it legally. Never mind break the law to do it. But he's clearly doing what he always does, which is making it seem like he's going to have the election stolen from him so that he can set up to cry and whine like a little bee when he loses. If he loses, which I believe he will, but only if we show up and do the work. 800-920-1580, that's the number to call. He's setting up the setup. Wah, they always cheat me. But meanwhile, if you're paying attention, he recently admitted on a podcast that he actually lost in 2020. He says, quote, by a whisker. This man lies so much and gets away with it that he thinks he can admit to a lie and keep telling that lie and no one will notice, and apparently he's right. He said he lost by a whisker, but he still keeps doing the big lie and no one calls him on that. And I think Paul Lee in the chat says, doesn't matter what Trump does or says at the debate tonight, everything is baked in already with him, and I think that's right. I do think he could stand on Fifth Avenue like he told us, shoot someone, and no one cares. His supporters still support him. So, to me, it's more like, what does Kamala Harris have to do? Now, I know that Trump's supporters are concerned that he'll show his behind and call her the N-word or the B-word, which he apparently regularly does, the B-word, in private. I think that would be funny because it shows the inside of his brain. That would be the real quiet part out loud. But I don't think it will change anything. I do not think Trump supporters care if he calls her out her name all day and all night. I don't think they care. In fact, I think they'll say he's just keeping it real. He's just like us. We call women bees too. He's just like us. I don't think his supporters care. I think he could call her the N-word all kinds of up, down, and sideways. And his supporters would not care. The only thing that I can see that might lose him that might lose some support for him among his base is if he appeared brain-addled, having senior moments, which, by the way, I believe he does all the time. Most of the time when I hear him talk lately, he seems to have senior moments. He seems to forget people's names or start ranting and raving about something useless. Talking about sharks. I don't know what he's talking about. He's rambling. And I don't just mean like rambling. I mean like rambling where you lose your train of thought. Rambling like you have cognitive decline. I believe he is suffering cognitive decline. And no one's talking about it. But I'm going to keep talking about it. But to me, if that cognitive decline, that, 78-year-old, not well taken care of brain, I'm not an ageist. But this man doesn't eat omega-3s and drink his water and eat his vegetables. He lives on Diet Coke and fast food. So his brain is not in good shape, and it's starting to show. To me, that's the only thing that could hurt him around the edges of his base. Call me now, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We do have a lot to talk about.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tavis Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
I need your dollar, that's what I need.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates small businesses, the enduring lifeblood of our community, with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Time to get
Don't settle for bumps, ingrowns, and itch due to dry skin. Try Venus for pubic hair and skin, the razor and regimen specifically designed for your pubic area, featuring a razor with patented irritation defense bar and skincare regimen that is dermatologist and gynecologist tested. Venus helps protect your pubic skin from shave irritation. Discover the full regimen of products at GilletteVenus.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
800-920-1580. Excuse my voice. I'm still getting over you know what. But I'm here and I'm feeling good and I'm ready for tonight's debate. And I'm encouraging you to tune in. We are going to be covering the presidential debate, which of course starts at 6 Cali time, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And you can listen to it on KBLA. And then from 7:30 to 9, me and Mr. Tavis Smiley, the owner of this station, will be agreeing to disagree and hosting a talkback session with the live studio audience here at the Leimert Park studios of KBLA. So join us for that. I will love to hear from you also, of course, Wednesday morning. You could listen to the debate live tonight and then stay tuned right after to hear the live reaction from our viewing party audience. Let's go to the phones. Are we timing it? I don't know. No, we said we're gonna play it by ear, but be mindful of allowing folks to eat up all our time. Why do I say that? Because it's Ira from LA. Good morning, Ira.
Good morning, Dominic. Thank you for having me on. The op-ed that you earlier mentioned, nail on the head when it comes to Trumper. Donald Trump reminds a lot of us of what white men in the South used to be years ago. They were blunt, they were coarse, they maybe weren't necessarily intellectuals, but they were honest. The new white man is very different. He's dishonest. That's why we don't trust him. That's why more tend to go towards Trump. He reminds us of when things were worked right back during segregation. That's when things were best for black people.
When things worked right. Okay, let me interject here. So you're saying an old Southern white man who's fathering children with his enslaved worker and lying about that to his wife and then using that child as a slave is more honest than the modern Southern white man?
Yeah, well, and don't forget, while he was down in the bottoms, with the black woman, a lot of us were up there with Miss Ann and Becca.
I don't
right?
think
I mean,
so.
it wasn't a one-way street.
Ooh, you're delusional.
It wasn't a one. Just look at it today. Look at all these young black men who are with white women. That didn't just start over the last 5 or 10 years.
So you're saying during enslavement, enslaved black men were sleeping with black women, with white women on the plantation. That's what you think?
What? Not in the same numbers that the white man was black women, but the white women weren't just
where
laying
was
around
where
waiting
was
on
this
the master
taking
to come back.
where was this taking place?
Some of it was in the big house. Some of it was out in the yard. Did you see Mandingo? Didn't you see that movie?
It's a movie. Okay, Ira. Thank you for calling and have a nice day. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about the debate, and I'm sure you'll let us know. By the way, yeah. Ira called 800-920-1580, and you can do the same. In the second hour of the show tomorrow, Wednesday, the 7 o'clock hour after Wealth Building Wednesday, and all the way up until 8:30 a.m. when I have a special guest on. So from say 7:20 to 8:30, whatever. It's caller amnesty. If you have called already this week, you'll be allowed to call again because I want to get your reaction to the debate, no matter who you are, even if you're someone that I don't agree with politically. So this interaction with Ira was an example of the new policy that we have crafted together. The chat room, our chat room, YouTube, KBLA 1580 participants, with the poll that Miles put up, and the online and on-air conversation that we had, which is we can allow people who are professionally apparently trolls to have their say. They can call in. We just don't want them to suck up too much time. We had talked about a time limit, ruled against that because we want to be able to have that back and forth conversation if it's warranted. But just being mindful of not allowing those folks to take over the show, derail the conversation, or exploit our platform in ways that certainly would not be reciprocated. Quite sure that, none of these right-wing talkers are going to put me on and let me take over their whole show. And I feel like that was pretty much how we'll be handling it moving forward. I have a tendency to give people too much time if they disagree. And that's why you saw me touching my phone, just trying to get a sense of how much time I was spending in that conversation when we have so much to talk about. I do think that this debate will be watched. Will get huge numbers, partly because people are inspired and enthusiastic, and even though this new polling, they're saying the new polling doesn't show it. To some extent, I'll challenge that because Biden was trailing in every single poll, right? Kamala Harris has been in the race for just a matter of weeks, and she's already in a dead heat, according to these same polls. That is movement. It doesn't mean she's beating him by 10, 15 points like I would like to see, but it's definitely movement. And so to make it seem like Politico, with their Republican-leaning selves, is saying that, she's stalled out her momentum, I don't think that's really a fair assessment. I don't think it's an unbiased assessment. She has pulled even with him in just a matter of weeks. That's incredible. America will be watching. When you look, in the details of this polling, what you see is that young people are more activated, women are more activated, and black people are more activated. And when I say more activated, I mean more likely to vote in this election, more likely to register, more likely to get our friends to vote. And so that means they're going to be looking to see what Kamala Harris has to offer, mostly her, because we've all heard Trump talk until we were ready to pass out from boredom and exasperation. I mean, that guy is just turned into like the boring uncle at the party that drones on and on with the same talking points. I mean, this is a Talking Point Tuesday. This guy is like an endless grievance talking point. And I'm hoping that his own boringness will start to undermine him. He used to be what Ira calls honest. He's not honest. He lies. He's lied more than anyone we've tracked. He's not honest. He's brash. And that's what people like. He's outspoken. He supposedly says the quiet part out loud, which is why I say if he shows up at tonight's debate and calls her N-word, N-word, B-word, B-word, C-word, C-word, and whatever else, it's not going to change things because for his supporters, for the most part, they're good with that. Appearing to be incompetent, I think, is the thing that could change things. And golly, to me, he's not even brash anymore. He's just boring. On and on about the stolen election lie, the blah, blah, blah lie. Are we going to hear about Hillary Clinton's emails until we all die? Like, get a new talking point, dude. Let's go to Michael from L.A. Good morning, Michael.
Yeah. Now in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the Bible condones slavery.
How come you sound like Fred?
Well, I don't even know who Fred is. I may have heard Fred. I think I do recall 1 or 2 Freds calling you.
Okay,
I don't
Michael,
listen to
go
your show
ahead.
every day, but no.
Not every day,
Yeah.
but you listen. I'll take it. Okay, Michael, go ahead.
So the Bible condones slavery. It says God basically did the laws he gave to Moses to give to the people.
Okay. This
I know you don't want to hear
anonymous.
about the Bible. I mean,
No, it's not that I don't
well,
want to hear about the Bible, but what's your bottom line, Michael?
Most black people claim to be Christians. I would assume most black people are interested in the Bible and believe it, but maybe not. They just say that. They have been conditioned to say that. But overall, God told the people that.
But you're not a Christian. You've called before on this. You've called before many times. It's just weird to me that someone who's not a Christian is constantly calling and talking about the Bible.
Because it affects me because most black people, 83% of black people claim to be Christians, and that affects me negative. Black people negative because the white people, they want black people to believe in this stuff, accept slavery and turn other cheek.
So your point is that you don't want black people to be Christians?
I don't want black people to believe in the dumb stuff of Christianity, like turn the other cheek. A slave is okay. Even in the New Testament says a slave obey your master. Even when the master's not looking, it tells slaves to.
Well, in every spiritual tradition, right? Buddhism, Muslim faith, Christianity, there are people who interpret those texts and philosophies in their own ways. So you could make that argument about any faith.
If that interpretation is wrong, if they've got the interpretation wrong, or man has just fabricated.
I mean, I just don't think it's a condemnation of the faith. I think it's a condemnation of people's interpretation of the faith.
My question is dealing with something else. If God knows all, supposedly, whatever God people want to believe in, if God knows that that's a wrong interpretation, that's said clear, and all Bibles pretty much say the same thing. The Christian, the Old Testament.
I got news, traffic, and sports right here, Michael, so hold that thought. Yep, taking all comers. KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now, here's the latest from the Black Information Network. SpaceX is celebrating an historic launch from Florida's Space Coast overnight. The Polaris Dawn mission finally got off the ground with a successful launch after being delayed several times due to a helium leak and bad weather. Several leading black organizations are warning of disinformation targeted at black Americans related to November's presidential election. A letter led by the nonprofit Onyx Impact urges black media to acknowledge disinformation's impact on the community's voters. COVID-19 lockdowns, school closures, and canceled activities aged teen brains as much as by 4 years. That's according to new research out of the University of Washington that looked at brain scans. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Every business faces challenges, but shipping shouldn't be one of them. Turn shipping to your advantage with USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Disappointing news for the Rams. They had to put wide receiver Puka Nacua on injured reserve with a sprained right knee. Nacua, a Pro Bowl selection last season as a rookie, was hurt in the second quarter of the Rams' loss to Detroit Sunday night. Nacua will miss at least 4 games. Congrats to Chargers safety Derwin James. His 7 tackles Sunday against the Raiders gave him 500 career tackles. The 6 black head coaches in the NFL were 4-2 in Week 1. The winners, New England's Gerard Mayo, Pittsburgh's Mike Tomlin, Houston's D'Amico Ryan, and Tampa Bay's Todd Bowles. Atlanta's Raheem Morris and Antonio Pierce of the Raiders will try to get their first win next Sunday. Top 5 college football teams in this week's AP Top 25 poll: Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, and Mississippi. USC is 11th. The Dodgers were pounded 10-4 by the Chicago Cubs. 5 Dodgers pitchers gave up a combined 16 hits. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes,
Why should we be silent?
turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation for KBLA Talk 1580.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses, like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take Auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% APR on all 2024 Silverado 1500, Blazer EV, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Colorado models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 12.7%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 9/30/24.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The moment we've all been waiting for has finally arrived. On Tuesday, September 10th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump will square off in their first ever presidential debate. KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress are hosting a viewing party, and we're inviting you to join us for an evening of civic engagement, great food, and good vibes. Our studio space is limited, but if you would like to join us, just go to our website at KBLA1580.com and register for your chance to watch this historic presidential debate with us. Years from now, we're all likely to remember exactly where we were when this pivotal moment in American politics unfolded. So, register for your chance to join us by going to KBLA1580.com right now. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth.
Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
KBLA Talk 1580. Okay, it's James Farr's fault. He's got me over here looking at this Dave Chappelle Honest Liar, where he really breaks down kind of Trump's first debate, presidential debate, and how he came at not only Hillary Clinton, but, the field. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go back to Michael. Michael, you know what? We have this new thing when people are kind of going off on a tangent. That's not even what we're talking about. So I'm just gonna give you maybe 20 seconds here to go ahead and land. Stick the landing, Michael. Stick the landing.
We were talking about slavery. In a nutshell, the Old Testament and New Testament, God condones slavery. Now, if God never condoned slavery and does not condone slavery, why would God allow this? Let's say if men fabricated this idea that slavery is good, that righteous, that God condones slavery, or if he misinterpreted God's word, why would God allow that misinformation to remain in the Bible so that people can be misled? God knows everything. God can wipe that out, negate that as soon as it was put in that Bible. Why would God allow that information that slavery is okay and fine to be given to the people?
I'll take devil for 5. Thank you, Michael. All right. Phone lines are open. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. That's the number Michael called, and you can do the same. The debate, no matter what you may think about it, is on tonight. We are carrying it and covering it. So join us here on KBLA 1580. We will break from our regularly scheduled programming and offer the debate. And then Tavis and I will team up. It's a rare moment. We get to share the mic together and host a clap back to the debate after the debate with our live in studio audience here at our Leimert Park station. It's going to be incredible. Really, really looking forward to it. And I also, one of the things I expect to see Trump doing that hulking, intimidating thing. Now, the mics are muted between when it's not your turn, so he won't get to talk over her the way he has done with other people in the past. But remember how he sort of menaced and hulked over Hillary Clinton and paced around the stage and acted up? I wouldn't be surprised to see that. I will say, though, that as a black woman, and I'll say for Kamala Harris as an attractive black woman, she's dealt with that kind of trolling, menacing, pseudo intimidation before. I don't expect her to be thrown off by that. I really don't. And I do anticipate seeing him setting the stage for his own loss, meaning setting it up to seem like he's going to get robbed again. Even Republican officials are now complaining that the Trump campaign is not spending enough money on voter turnout, which means they could you'll get out hustled in battleground states. They're saying the Trump operation is not spending as much as they typically do. Well, his daughter-in-law is over the RNC, so they're probably saving all their money for his criminal defense. But again, this makes it more likely that he, could come up short. So he's going to be setting us up for that. Okay, it's Fred from LA, so I don't know if this is Fred.
Hello?
Oh, it's Fred the independent voter.
The independent thinking Fred, yeah.
I don't know about independent thinking, because you seem to have all the Republican talking points, but I know that you're registered as independent.
Okay, that sounds good. Anyway, I thank you for saying that I can have amnesty after the debate tonight and call in after it. So I want to talk about reparations, and I'll do it within the 90 seconds. I'm fast. 3 points. the first time I heard you, the lady said that it was only going to be reparations, a one-time thing. Then you had the state senator or Assemblyman Bradford on, I think his name. That's what I wrote down. He said, no, man, this is going to be an ongoing thing for reparations. You know, if you get the check today, then you get one for the next 40 years, I guess. And then the third point, the Democrats always got to find money. People find money for illegal immigrants, and I don't need to go into the details, but they can't find no money for registration. So why do you people stick to that party? Why do
registration? You mean voter registration?
No. Maybe you misunderstood me.
You said they can find money for illegal immigration, but they can't find money for registration.
But no, well then I misspoke. They can't for reparations. They can't
reparations.
find money for reparations for black
people.
It.
Okay, thank you, Fred. Republicans can always find endless money for war to send to Israel and Ukraine and anybody else who wants to start a war that seems to supposedly protect our interests. Republicans can find endless money for that. And Democrats too. I mean, I will concede that Democrats, like this year, approve budgets that are vastly bloated and unnecessary military budgets. Like Tupac said, money for war but can't feed the poor. That said, let's see. Reparations. When Senator Steve Bradford said it was an ongoing thing, he didn't mean it was like a welfare check where you get a reparations check every month. What he meant is that 400 years of enslavement and subjugation, Jim Crow, you're not going to fix it with one bill, one check, one change to the law. So yeah, if we have a big enough check, it could be a one-time thing. But there are multiple pieces to this that are going to take a number of different kinds of legislation, different kinds of remedies. Hopefully you heard the woman from North Carolina, the Reparations Commission there in the city of Asheville, talking about how they actually audited their entire city government to see where the inequities lie, including awarding of contracts. There's so many different places where the Jim Crow legacy of slavery impacted us and continues to impact us in education, financial institutions. As you saw, one of the big victories in reparations this legislative session in California, which I hope to see replicated across the country, was this bill that makes it easier to take back land that was taken from us through racially motivated use of eminent domain. That's exactly what happened in Bruce's Beach. So it's not to say that reparations is now a welfare check that we get for the next 40 years. It's to say that there is a whole bunch of different pieces that have to be repaired. If a reparation is repair, as Molly Bell always reminds us, that's literally what it means. Closing the wealth gap, cash reparations has to be part of it. I don't agree that that's the only important reparations, but I think it is not reparations at all if it doesn't include cash payments. But that's just one piece of the puzzle, Fred. That's just one piece of the puzzle. How do you repair centuries, literally centuries, of medical malpractice against an entire community? You think you do that with one bill or a proclamation or an apology? I don't think so. Not if we're being honest, Fred. Not if we're being honest, Ira. Honest, as in telling the truth. See, the reason I said it was James Farr's fault that I was not ready to come back from the break is because I was looking. He said honest liar. He was quoting Dave Chappelle, and I was going back and looking at that, the way he describes Donald Trump as an honest liar. Meaning, yeah, he'll lie and lie and lie, but he'll tell the truth about some things that the ruling class usually don't tell the truth about, i.e., yeah, I don't pay my taxes. That means I'm smart. He said that, remember? It was at a debate, remember? Well, I hope he drops some gems like that tonight. But in any case, he still lies. It's just that That's why they say he says the quiet part out loud. He still don't show you his taxes. He's still saying he didn't have sex with Stormy Daniels. He still ripped off all those people who he told he was going to make them rich if they signed up for the Trump University. And he didn't make them rich. He took their money and ran. He still lied to all those contractors who he never paid back for doing work on his house or his golf club or whatever, his golf resorts. We know he lied to Melania. Why do you think she don't want to hold his hand? He lied to her repeatedly and humiliated her. He is a liar, but my point was his base doesn't care. So I don't think that tonight in the debate, Kamala Harris exposing him as a liar, a rude person, a tax cheat, an adulterer, a hypocrite. I don't think any of those things, which we know to be factual, help her in the debate. She needs to present herself. This is who I am. This is what I am going to do. This is how I move us forward from this dark, scary, mean-spirited era brought on by Trump and the MAGA New Confederates. This is what I'm going to do. These are my policies. This is who I am. This is my vibration, my energy. That's what she needs to do. She needs to act like it's all about her. I don't agree she needs to completely ignore him, but making the case against him has been done and done and done and done and done. And so far, it doesn't work. Love to hear your thoughts. 800-920-1580. What is working, though, is calling him weird. Calling the policies weird. Diminishing him. A little man with little hands. And a little soul. A big bank account and a tiny heart. Diminishing him. Making him less scary. Making him just the boring old selfish lech that he is, and focusing on who she is. That's, I believe, what she needs to do. Love to hear what you think. 800-920-1580. Love to hear your clap back to the man who calls himself the Good Fred when he says reparations will just go on forever, and that's a bad thing. When you repair something, you keep working on it until the doggone thing is fixed. You going to take your TV back from the repair shop or your car back from the mechanic when it's still sputtering? I don't think so. You want to say, keep working on this sucker until it runs smooth. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Los Angeles Adventist Academy has been providing quality Christian education in the South Bay area for more than 100 years. That's right, more than 100 years. Los Angeles Adventist Academy has preschool, kindergarten, and grades 1 through 9. Los Angeles Adventist Academy is fully accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. Los Angeles Adventist Academy provides a Christian-centered curriculum, a caring and dedicated staff, a clean and safe environment that meets all CDC standards. Los Angeles Adventist Academy has small class sizes, which means our students get the attention they need to be successful. Los Angeles Adventist Academy has foreign language training in all grades. Los Angeles Adventist Academy has STEAM programs that include robotics training. Los Angeles Adventist Academy has performing arts programs that include music and drama. Los Angeles Adventist Academy has competitive sports programs that include football, basketball, tennis, golf, and chess. Los Angeles Adventist Academy is located right across the street from the beautiful Magic Johnson Park at 846 East El Segundo Boulevard. That's 846 East El Segundo Boulevard. To enroll your child at Los Angeles Adventist Academy, call 323-743-8818. That's 323-743-8818. One more time, that's 323-743-8818.
The LA Civil Rights Department and its Reparations Advisory Commission want to hear your reparations ideas. Join them at one of 3 working groups on September 10th, 12th, and 14th. Space is limited. To register, call 213-978-1845 or email lacr@reparations@lacity.org today. That's LACR-reparations with an S at lacity.com. Be part of this monumental movement.
for all of us, this generation and the next. There is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back indeed. So that the issue I was talking about the Trump campaign not spending the money on their ground game that they did in 2020 or even 2022, the RNC now controlled by his daughter-in-law, is indeed, they've been focused on trying to find voter fraud, that needle in the haystack. And then they've been really saving their money to do big fancy rallies and legal bills, like I said. So it wasn't until Biden stepped back from seeking re-election, Kamala Harris stepped up and saw a tremendous fundraising surge and started putting boots on the ground that they started to freak out and try to match those efforts. Reportedly, the Harris campaign has 375 staffers on the ground in Pennsylvania alone, knocking on doors. And I'm hoping, but it doesn't mean that we don't need to get on the phones, get on our knees and pray if you are a believer, right? I am. I'm just really putting light on VP Harris today, just tonight, to just have a stellar and unlikely, eye-opening, powerful, charismatic performance. Let's go to Jeanette calling us from Inglewood. Good morning, Miss Jeanette. How you be?
Good. I'm good. How are you, Dominique?
Ooh, I'm happy to hear you after
taking
3
my call.
trolls in a row. Here comes Jeanette.
And watch this. It's going to be great. First of all, I just want to say, as we all know, James Earl Jones has died.
Yes.
And it was really sad that, that voice. And it's so funny. I'm at work, and I watch you on YouTube, and they showed a movie starring him called The Man. And this is the movie where he was the first black president, and this movie was in 1972.
Oh, I didn't see it.
So just imagine.
Man.
Yes.
Okay.
It is good. It's just called The Man. And the second thing I wanted to say was that on last Thursday, 9/5, Trump was just as incoherent as Biden was when Trump was asked a question about the child care at the Economic Club. You can look on YouTube.
I saw
it
that.
was at the Economic Club of New York. And that's how he's going to be tonight.
I hope you're right. I mean, one thing that was pointed out to me is that within that gobbledygook of garbled word, it wasn't even a word salad. It was like a word vomit that he did.
Yep.
There was some grains of truth, which is he mentioned Marco Rubio and Ivanka Trump, and they actually do have a child care plan, which involves you giving up your Social Security money tomorrow to pay for child care today, which is a horrible idea. So you can get these free paid child leave times to take care of your kid, but in exchange for that, you have to give up your Social Security. So it's like choose between taking care of your kids or taking care of yourself in old age, because that's the compassionate policy of the Trump administration.
And we need to keep on saying that, and that's going to stick to people's heads. That right there needs to be said more and more and more. So thank you, Dominique, for taking my call.
Oh, thank you, Jeanette. I appreciate you. And I'm glad you brought up James Earl Jones. I was sad to hear that the voice of Darth Vader had made his transition at 93. I love his voice. I love him in most everything I've seen him in. He's won Golden Globes, Emmys, Tonys. He has an honorary Oscar. But I realized when he made his transition that I don't know that much about James Earl Jones. He's just like a fixture. You know, he's one of those grand talents that's just sort of there. He was 93 when he passed. And I have been inspired just by the few pictures that I've seen posted, you know, of the different versions of James Earl Jones throughout the year that I've seen posted on Instagram. It's really inspired me to want to learn more about him. So I'm going to do some reading about him in the days ahead. I knew that he came up from poverty, but I did not, I realized I just didn't know as much as I should about this towering talent of a man. 90 TV network dramas and episodic series, 120 movies, including Star Wars, which apparently some of his voiceover, quite a bit of his voiceover work is not even credited. It's just work he's done. Mufasa from The Lion King. And I mean, just that alone, that body of work is enough for anybody who's worked in this field as I have to bow down to him. You know, I mentioned 120 films. He also did dozens and dozens of plays, right? One time, according to the New York Times, he did 18 plays in 30 months. You just think about that only from the standpoint of memorization. 18 plays in 30 months. Most of us are like, if we can do one play or two in 30 months, because you've got to be able to soak in that character, remember those lines to the point where it flows from you without even thinking about it, and give a performance, which in itself requires stamina. 18 plays in 30 months is Herculean. At 6'2", 200 pounds, with that booming voice. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones. I am looking forward to learning even more about you now that you've made your transition. We have a very, very special guest up next. We'll see what she has to say about, knows a thing about poise and presentation. Miss Black USA joins us next live in the studio on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now, here's the latest from the Black disinformation targeted at Black Americans related to November's presidential election. A letter led by the nonprofit Onyx Impact urges Black media